walking around. He's pulling stuff out. He's like, what is it? This is, and then I get a short story about how painters work, and this and that. But the fact I came home, I had stuff. I bought a table. I bought a tool. I got home and I was like, it's just so much fun. The thing was like a terrible, sad story. And he got there, they were grateful. Everybody, like you said, everybody's like, hey, Alfie, so glad you're here. I just took a long walk, the same walk I always walk, down the spur. They call it a new name now. I never learned. And to Federal Twist, I turn, and I see a guy out there admiring the field. And he says, hey. And I said, hey. And he goes, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm out here walking, but really, I'm really sad. And he gets me talking. And I say, yeah, I don't know if you know this guy. Come on. I'm from Maryland. You probably don't. Maybe you know this guy, Alfie Grillo. He goes, Alfie? And this guy is like partially mentioned. He goes, Alfie? I know that name. And I go, plumber? He goes, he's my plumber. Of course. So I said, well, he said, I was just going to call him. And I'm like, well, you'll get a referral, right? But anyway, never mind. It's true. We all loved him. He has many people who are very sad today. And we'll miss him every time they see something like this gorgeous day. And the gorgeous thing that he made here. And you made it. Yeah, you made it. My sister. My sister. Yeah. So that's all I want to say. I love Alfie. And I will always love him. And he was the other brother.
I don't know that I can.
Go ahead, Andy.
Like, you can
Get
do it.
it.
Hi.
I don't know if you know who I am.
No. Full name. You're Alfie's favorite sister.
I'm that. And he was generally my safety net. He was my safety net even when we were kids. We're only 15 months apart. We grew up like twins. Joey came along, kind of interrupted things. But then Mary and Joey, they were like frickin' frack. So I didn't feel so bad. Because at least he had a buddy until we got older, and then we kind of accepted him. But Alfie is probably one of the most generous, kind-hearted people I've ever known in my life. A lot like my mom, so much like my mom. And as time went on, I just saw more and more of my mother in him. And we all loved her. She was a great person too. We've been fortunate to have an amazing family. My brother Joe, myself, and Alfie. We were raised by two wonderful parents who taught us about family. Now, my father was not without his flaws, which made my mother more of a saint. But my father had a good soul, And he was a generous, kind person, always giving. And Alfie and my brother Joe has that same spirit. There wasn't anything that I couldn't talk to Alfie about. Sometimes we differed in our opinions about approach and whatnot, but there wasn't anything you couldn't talk to him about. And he always picks up the phone, even if it was in the knee deep in sewage. He would stop and he would see my number and he would stop, say, "What's going on?" and make me feel good. No matter what the problem was, he would make me feel good. And through those tough years, and I had a few, I always knew he was my safety net. I never had a doubt. I would come here, Janet would make a spread. I'd sit for hours, and just enjoy the security of being here and knowing that no matter what, whether it was help with the kids, forget about help with the kids, Janet and Alfie, my God, those early years, Kimberly was here all the time after preschool. After preschool, she was here and she loved being here. Her and Grace were like sisters back then. But it didn't matter how small or how big it was. They were there with my mother. My God, how much help do we have? Joe too. But every Sunday he was there with Janet. She would clean the house. My mother told her, "It's not dirty, don't clean the house." And she'd say, "Well, we'll just take it a little bit." And then what? Janet would start cleaning. My mother would go, "Oh, don't forget to clean over there." And now we would just say, "Just go with it." And that's how he lived his life. He was just a kind man. And it didn't have to be family. God, it didn't have to be family. How many strangers I've met that said, "Oh my God, he hasn't sent me a bill. It's 10 years already." I won't give you his name.
He paid in cash.
Yeah, Grace has it. It's somewhere.
But, while he was sick, we all held out thinking that, he's strong. He'll get through this. And we had high hopes that he would. And, we didn't really know what he was facing. And maybe deep down he did know what he was facing. Maybe. He always had some kind of insight that seemed uncommon to others. So he was strong and he was loving to the last minute. He didn't want his family to watch him be in this state. And he made the ultimate sacrifice by just saying, "Listen, this isn't the way I'm going to end my life. I live my life fully and I'm going to die in the way I want to." And he did. And we are all trying to accept it now. And eventually we will. And like I said to my family today was the first day I didn't wake up crying. So there's some progress. And I'm sure I'll have another day when I am, but this morning I didn't. But we love him dearly. He will always be deep rooted in my soul. And in everything I do, I will think of him. I love you, Alfie.
Okay. Got everybody. If you missed any of it, we're recording it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Hi. I'm Joe's wife, for all of you there. I don't know who's there.
I'm an in-law. I didn't grow up with Alfie. I only got to know him later. And something that Lauren said just was ringing in my ears. She said he was always interesting to be with. And it occurs to me that not only was he interesting to be with, but the thing that set him apart was he was interesting, but more so, he was interested. He was interested in you. He was interested in your life and your thoughts and your feelings and your well-being. And so I guess I've known him for 27 or 28 years, 27 years we've been married, so 28 years about, because we were going out for a little while before that. He's the only person in my life that would every now and then just call me up. I'm not nobody special in the family, but he would. And when Nico was born, he made an effort to always be involved in Nico's life. Nico, okay? He's the only kid's name is Nico, but it was Nico. And he made sure that he came, he attended. Most recently, it was a concert that Nico's singing group was doing up at Drew University. And Joe was working, I drove up, and Alfie came up, and on the way home, we stopped at Friendly's to get a bite to eat. And we're sitting there and we're having a heart-to-heart, which we did. You know, he knows some things about me, and I really appreciated his ear. And somehow we got on the topic of, you know, not being in the same shape we were 20 years ago. And, you know, I was bemoaning the fact that I'm not flexible anymore. And he's like, well, I can still touch my toes. And he jumps up. I'm like, what? He jumps up in Friendly's, in between the tables, and puts his hands flat on the ground. Knees straight, hands flat on the ground. I was like, oh my God.
I love that. Yeah.
Oh my God. And he's like, well, you know, when you're plumbing, you're always like leaning over. And I was just like, oh my God, he was fun and he was funny, right? But more than that, he had a way of making you feel heard and of making you feel valued. And for that, I will always be grateful, because he didn't just do it for me. He did it for all of us. Yeah. And if we can be like Alfie, that's the best way to be, because there honestly is no one else. I have never met anyone else like him. And that's a gift. Love you, Alfie.
I'm going.
You going?
I'm going.
I'm the worst storyteller.
Yeah.
So bear with me. I don't have a story. You'll help me. Kim will cut me off. She'll get the hook. You know, we talk a lot about these days our authentic self, right? It's like a very common term that's used a lot. We talk about it in yoga. We talk about and hear about it a lot. And there truly is no one more authentic than Alfie.
Yep.
Whether it's boots and Carhartts in a 5-gallon bucket, whether it's Budweiser, whether it's his ability to make you, to disarm. And I mean, I'm just thinking about, like, if he was here, what would he be saying? What would he be doing with us? And to like shake us out of this.
Whispering in someone's ear.
He'd be making us giggle. He'd be making us laugh. He'd find a way to lift us all up. And I think because we're doing this way,
This is how we lift each other up. This is what he'd want. So he's here, and we're all here with him. Love you. He's always with us. Keep it short. Bye.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that I've had a plumbing problem for 2 days. Our upstairs bathroom is not. Mom sleeps upstairs, so.
Anthony, don't do it.
Oh my goodness. So Dennis thinks, we got a snake, so we got to use that snake and see if we can fix it. So it's been 2 days, but he always called Alfie every time to have a little chat and see if he couldn't fix it, or we'd call Alfie. But that's really not what I want to talk about. When my brother got married, I was devastated just because it's a change. Like, this is a change. And I was very upset. And Alfie was with me so much that day. I just remember him dancing with me and talking to me and making me feel so much better. And ever since, I always loved him, but Joey and I were the ones that were connected. And ever since that day, it was I just felt closer to him. And we used to follow his band. I was a groupie. Dennis didn't know of him. And I was a groupie when he played in Featherbed. Janet, I saw you there many times. And Dennis came into the Capri Lounge in Hillsborough, and I met him for the first time. And we were talking a little bit, and I said, I love the song Moondance. So he said, I'll tell you what, if the next song they play is Moondance, I'll dance with you. So I run over to Alfie and I said, Alfie, you gotta play this song for me. And the rest is history. We've been married 43 years. But the thing I really wanted to say was pretty much what, oh my God, I can't even think. No, Lenny, sorry.
It was in this area.
I'm
so
very
it could've been
distracted.
anybody.
I'm sorry, Lynn. I know you. I called Danielle and told her of this when Alfie passed, and she was devastated. She was beside herself. And she said the one thing about Alfie was that he looked at you. He paid attention to you. He cared about everything that you were about. He always made her feel very special. He made everybody feel very special. And she said, we really need to take a lesson from that. And since that conversation with her, although I knew that in my heart, I have said that over and over to people, that we need to take a lesson from how he lived, because it's so important to pay attention and to really care about the other person you're talking to. And we're just really going to miss him. It's just going to be a big void. It's like cutting off your arm. It's just, I'm sorry. Anyway, Mr. Peace out.
Oh, prayer? Okay, who's saying prayer? Mary, Patty, you want to lead it? Eric, you want to do a prayer? All right, then we'll do something. And then we're gonna do flowers. Oh, I didn't know we were doing that.
I'll do it after the song.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Do the song.
Before I say a prayer, I have to tell you this.
Oh, boy.
We're in Maine.
Oh, boy.
It's Sunday. It's Mom. It's Patty. It's me. We go to church on Sunday. I said, Alf, this Sunday, you coming to church with us? He says, all right, I'll go. We all get in the car. We drive down to the church. We get out. Alfie's sitting shotgun on this side, all right? And Mom is out already. The rest of us are out. Alf, we're here. Oh, well, yeah, I'm at the church, but I'm not going in. What are you going to do? I brought a book. He may not have been church religious, but he was spiritual, you know. And a simple prayer for Alfie is simply this, not a formal prayer because it wasn't Alfie. But every day, you just think about him. Think what we could do better. Think how we could make somebody else happy. Think how we could listen and really care. Amen, Alf.
Amen.
No,
Add
I want
flowers.
to say,
You want to say something?
Lenny, I'm so glad you brought that whiskey.
Yeah,
It helps. That was really,
smart. A plus.
I think my favorite memory when I was a kid, Alfie had a paper out.
I helped.
On Sundays, I would help him with the papers because I was little and he was big, right? So we'd tie up the papers, you know, and I would go out on the route with him, no matter however cold it was, whatever it was. So my dad had built this really cool like cart, right? It was big wheels, fenders, had fenders, right? License plate, right? So we would go out and deliver the papers, boom, 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 and we would go all the way. We lived on 9th Avenue. We went all the way to 20th Avenue, which for me was, an eternity. Being, however old I was, I don't remember. So at the end of the whole thing, he would give me a ride home in the cart. And that was like, for me, was the coolest thing. He'd go, come on, I'll give you a ride. Yeah. He would push me all the way home in that cart. And I swear that was like the most fun thing. And he always supported me and our family. He came to all my gigs, right? And I loved him so much. And everybody loved him. When I was telling people about this, that he passed away, I was hearing from people from like 1975, right? Like I was in a band in 1975 called, or 76, 77, Montana Mining Company. It was together for a couple of years. And a guitar player that I had known who moved to Florida gets in touch with me because he saw the thing on Facebook. And he's like, oh man, I'm really sorry about Alfie. He was like the coolest guy. Now, how did he know that?
In 75. Cool.
How did he know that? Right? Because Alfie, he touched everyone right here. He touched everyone. And it's going to be so hard to live without him. And we used to go to Jazz Fest together. And that was like a big thing for me because he and I, and we could always, never find people to go. And it was always, and great. Thank you for Grace and Jamie for introducing us to that. I mean, that was the coolest thing,
we
right?
weren't that fun. Oh, I wasn't that fun. She was fun.
Well, whatever. We went down there that first year and I fell in love with New Orleans and Alfie did too. And we made it a yearly thing. Like, we're going to go to New Orleans. Come on, let's go. And it changed my life. It really did. Changed my life. So music, it was everything to Alfie, right? Music. He was a great drummer. And everyone who ever played with him said that. They go, he's a great drummer. In fact, you know who I talked to the other day was Boo. You guys know Boo?
Yeah.
So Boo was in one of his early bands, and he's out in California. And Boo says to me, Alfie was the best drummer and such a great guy. And they've kept a close relationship, even though he doesn't see them. That's the kind of thing. You meet Alfie once, twice, 3 times, and now all of a sudden you consider Alfie your best friend. Right? He's my best friend.
Don't tell his best friends we said that.
And we talked about that earlier today. Merch is his best friend. Jana will know. Jana's shaking her head. But Merch is his best friend, and I'm his best friend, and you're his best friend. And anyone that ever knew him was his best friend because of Alfie is Alfie. So I'm not going to keep going on and on and on, but I thought it would be nice to have some music. So I have some music here, and I'm going to give you the lyrics, because I think if you have the lyrics, because sometimes when you listen to music, you don't really kind of get the lyrics. And I think the lyrics are really, really important. So would you help me? Pass one of these out. Pass one of these out to everybody. So the first song we're going to play is a song that that I wrote for Alfie 28 years ago when he turned 40. And I don't know if y'all remember the song or not, because we probably only played it once. But this song, it's kind of a fun song, and it's just funny. So hope you like it. This is called
You wrote this
I wrote this 28 years ago. When I first started getting into home recording, I didn't play very well. The piano was really horrible on it, but lyrically, I think it really captures Alfie. So if you could play that for us, please. Turn it up a little.
Walking around town, you can hear the talk about a crazy old plumber with a bounce in his walk and a twinkle in his eye. Like he's up to something when he gives you a smile. Yeah, he's on a farm in a big white house with his wife and his kids and his cat in the mountain.
We should be dancing.
On his tractor, even though he's got no head, he likes to whistle, and you know.
Come on, kid.
When it's late at night, you just might catch him singing to the man on the moon. He can make you laugh at the drop of your hat. He can put a grin on your chinny chin chin. He's my father's son, it's true. There ain't another brother like Alfie. Oh, he's got a heart as big as a pot of gold, and he looks so young for a 40-year-old. Yeah, he's living, breathing proof. You gotta learn to laugh to find the fountain of youth. He's a good old dad, his kids love him so. Takes them out for a ride in the field in the snow. Well, as far as fathers go, he's the tops of the pops. Baby, that's no joke. He likes to play the drums, you know. And man, that cat can groove. When it's late at night, you just might catch him singing to the man on the moon. So if you run to him, don't you be surprised if you find yourself feel a little high. It's contagious, yes, it's true. There ain't another brother, not quite another brother. Oh, there ain't another brother like Alfie, like Alfie. You know, there's really no one quite like my brother Alfie. He's quite a funny guy, you know. He's the type of guy that makes you want to whistle silly songs at the weirdest time. You know, I feel him coming up right about now. Here it comes.
That was my little song about Alfie.
When did you write that?
28 years ago for his 40th birthday. So the next song I'm going to play for you is, can you turn this up a little bit? My voice. I don't think there was ever a more perfect song ever written in this world than this next song. I was up late last night, and I was on YouTube, and I came across Burt Bacharach, and he was talking about this song, and he said this song is perfect, like never a better song ever written. Oh, right. I mean, I gotta admit, lyrically, musically, chordally, melody-wise, it's just a masterpiece, and it's perfect. And so, put that on. Oh, wait, before you do that, the reason why I chose this version of it is this was done by a singer that I work with, Leon Holmes, who is a beautiful singer. She works in the band that I work with, Motor City Review. And the thing about this particular version that I chose is it's not perfect. There's noise in the background because it was recorded on a video camera, and you hear cars going by, you hear people clapping, saying stuff. So it's not. Alfie loved live music, loved it. The imperfections of live music, the spontaneity of live music. So that's why I chose this. And Leon she just destroys this song, her voice. So this is Leon Holmes singing Alfie. Alfie, is it just for the moment we live? What's it all about when you sort it out, Alfie? Are we meant to take more than we give? Or are we meant to be kind and near? Only fools are kind. I'll see. Then I guess it is wise to be cruel. And if life belongs only to the strong, I'll feel. What would you let on an old golden rule? As sure as I believe there's a heaven above, I'll be. I know there's something much more, something even non-believers can believe in. I believe in love. I'll be. Without true love, we just exist. I'll be until you found the love you missed. You're nothing. I'll be when you walk, let your heart lead the way, and you'll find love any day. I'll be. Oh, I'll be. Alfie. Love you, brother. Love you.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Goodbye.
Okay.
And that is the end of
We
our
love you all.
presentation today.
We're glad you were here.
Thank you so much for being here.
We love you. I think we're just gonna go eat and drink.
Drink.
Love you guys.
You too.
Love you.
See you
Wish
soon.
we could be with you. We're so sorry.
Hey, D. Cheers to Alfie.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Hi, Danielle.
Danielle.
Hi. Hi, Mom. Hi.
Maddie.
Okay.
Love you, David.
Lovely, lovely, lovely,
Thank you.
a beautiful, loving man.
Take good care of each other.
Yes, he brought joy really to people. He made life really interesting and meaningful and joyful. And he listened. I had pictures of him with Grace and Dom. And you could see he listened to them and he valued them. He valued what they had to say. And
Taught me all about a good father. What a good father.